Today we're going to talk about why New York City feels so deserted lately. Then I'm going to update you all on the Phase 3 reopening of the Big Apple. Watch till the end. What's up? It's John, and lately I've caught myself thinking about the situation in New York City and how watered down it feels, how the streets have been emptier, how the subways have been emptier, and if I'm ever gonna get used to this new normal right now. Now, I will say that the situation I'm describing is about my area of Manhattan. It's my unique experience here, and other parts of New York may not feel as quiet or deserted. To understand why so many people have fled the city, we need to break down the demographics of who's normally running around most of Manhattan. A big demographic in lower Manhattan in particular are transplants. People who weren't born in New York City but moved here from someplace else. And I even fall into this category growing up on the other side of the Hudson in Jersey. And what draws a transplant to New York City are all of the things that you would normally expect to be getting out of the New York City experience, like going out, restaurants, culture, you name it. And when COVID hit, a lot of those perks of living in Manhattan quickly went away. And then a lot of transplants found themselves paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month for apartments that they were staying in for most of the day. So they looked for ways out. And that was the first big exodus, I would say, from New York City. People broke their leases, or if their leases expired in the last couple of months, they just didn't re-sign them and they left somewhere else. Or in the case of people who could go home to their parents, even if they're still paying New York City rent, they're living with their parents right now. So it's rent-free and that balances it out. Another huge demographic that is largely absent from the Manhattan landscape right now, commuters. Now, while many offices are able to reopen right now, a lot of them haven't reopened. And if anyone out there has used Zoom before, you probably have seen the capabilities of what it's like to work remotely or even just to chat with your friends on Zoom. And I think a lot of companies are beginning to see the benefits of that. And what we may see happen is smaller businesses leaving their expensive Manhattan office spaces and going almost completely remote, or just having some kind of a WeWork type of office space where when they need to come in, they'll come in only a few days a week. And I think this is something that actually is going to be a big shift down the line. But if you look around FIDI, if you look around Times Square, Midtown, when I went there once, I couldn't believe how empty it was. Normally you saw a ton of commuters running back and forth in suits, completely absent, at least when I went. Now I know more and more people are beginning to trickle back, but that is still a huge void. It's July, and anyone who has a summer home, I assure you, is using it for most of the summer. Not that I blame them. I mean, who wants to be in New York when it's hot, muggy, miserable out? So that's a small portion of people who have the ability to escape from the summer. They are certainly taking advantage of it. University students, I am filming this video right now, right next to NYU. And I cannot tell you how few people I'm seeing on the streets between 18 to 21. All the schools closed in March, and that is a huge void, particularly in this part of Manhattan, but it's gonna be seen all over. NYU students aren't coming back, and last I read, they're talking about having almost all of their classes being remote for this fall. Now, we're not going to get into the debate of is it worth paying $50,000 a year to take classes online. We're not going to go there, but that's going to be the reality for the current crop of college students. And without seeing them around, well, many parts of Manhattan have felt a lot emptier. Now we're going to get to probably the largest demographic watching this video right now, and that's tourists to New York City. Well, first of all, if you are from Europe, you can't even come here right now without an essential reason. And even my friends in the UK, we've got tons of viewers from the UK. Shout out to you guys. And you obviously can't come either right now, just like Americans can't go to Europe. And we may not see that lifted for quite a long time, as sad as it is. Now, some would argue New York without tourists in some ways is calmer, but I'll say that mass tourism in New York City didn't really bother me much from my own personal perspective. And I'm not just saying that because I make videos for many tourists, but I don't spend a ton of my day in Midtown Manhattan or in Dumbo, Brooklyn, where the largest amounts of tourists would tend to be. So without tourism in New York City, again, big void of people. So we just broke down some of the largest demographics of people who aren't in New York right now. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you want to do something nice for me, make sure to hit that like button down below. That way the YouTube algorithm will know to recommend this video to others. So I've been updating you all along since March what it's like living in New York City, and I will say that there's more and more people coming here. It's not as deserted as it was in March and April, but it's still watered down, and honestly, I'm not enjoying it that much compared to normal. True story, I took the subway about a week ago, the 6 train, midday, and I sat in my car going uptown towards Grand Central from Bleecker. Not a single person walked into my subway car. That absolutely surreal experience. It felt like I was on some kind of a ghost train. That's normally the type of thing you would see at 4 o'clock in the morning on a weekday maybe, but at midday on the 6 train, New York is getting kind of surreal, and I'm still not fully adjusted to it. It's something that's taking time for me. I want to thank my fellow New Yorkers watching this video for the amount of mask usage that I've seen. And it's not just wearing masks in stores, it's wearing masks even walking around. And I just took my mask off to film this video as nobody's around me. But walking any of the streets here of Manhattan, I would say 80–90% of people are wearing masks, and this has surprised some of my viewers from other parts of the United States who've told me that where they are, people outside almost never wear masks unless they're actually walking into a store. Now, I realize that New York City is more densely populated than other areas of the US, but I do really appreciate the efforts that my fellow New Yorkers are doing right now to try to curb COVID here. And largely it's worked. The amount of COVID cases here has gone down drastically compared to other parts of the US, which are now surging. Before moving forward and making some predictions, I want to give a special shout out to the sponsors of today's video, the members of my Patreon. Guys, thank you so much. Your support helps us pay for some of the adventures that we take on this channel, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's talk about when there could be some changes in New York City. I think in the fall, we're going to start to see more people coming back, assuming that the case rate remains low. That's going to be all the people that left for the summer. Maybe their businesses are starting to reopen in the fall. That's going to be one group. Normally, I would say university students would be another, but this fall, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think there's going to be a group of people that decide to move to New York in September, October, because of real estate. This is something we haven't even touched on. I have friends who work in real estate, and normally the summer is the busiest period. They are working 12 hours a day, and it has been slow. I mean, really slow. And I checked StreetEasy.com last night. I have never seen so many apartments under $2,000 a month available in Greenwich Village, my neighborhood, which normally apartments are running for $3,000 or more. Prices are very low. And there's going to be some of you out there that see an opportunity in this to move to New York when prices are down, and you'll get at least one good year of cheaper rent. That's almost assured because landlords have no choice. Apartments are sitting vacant. I don't think there's ever been this many apartments sitting vacant in New York City, at least in the last 10 to 20 years. What about tourism in New York City? I get asked this question a lot. When is it going to return? I don't think mass tourism is going to return to New York City until we have a vaccine. That's just the honest truth. Until there's a vaccine in place, I don't think we're going to see mass tourism here to the levels that it was before COVID. And I'm going to make a prediction. This is just a guess. Don't hold me to this. But I don't think we see mass tourism in New York until earliest spring of 2021. Now, we would need a vaccine in place by early 2021. Then you probably would need a few months buffer to make sure that everything's working. But what are tourists really getting in New York right now? At least first-timers. Museums are closed. Broadway is going to be closed till at least early 2021. And a lot of restaurants still aren't open. So the reasons to come here, they haven't returned yet, and I don't know if they're gonna return until 2021. Many people don't realize it, but New York City actually entered phase 3 reopening earlier this week. What was supposed to be the big update was that restaurants were going to allow indoor dining, but because of the spike of coronavirus cases around the US, specifically Florida, Arizona, Texas, the governor decided that they were going to hold off on opening up indoor dining in New York City for phase 3. So what is available now in phase 3 that wasn't available a week ago? You can go to tanning salons, tattoo shops, massage spots, nail salons. It's not huge, at least for most people, but it is something. And I don't know when indoor dining is going to come back in New York. It could be a while. And honestly, I don't know even if indoor dining did return to New York right now, if I would even be comfortable eating indoors or even going to a bar. I'm even not 100% sure about outdoor dining at the moment. Now, if you walk around Manhattan, more and more restaurants have decided if we can't do indoor dining, we're gonna do whatever we can to get some outdoor dining. And you're seeing these little temporary outdoor setups being constructed. Literally, I saw it as I was walking here, and they're now even gonna be closing off some busy streets on weekends to allow restaurants to use more space outdoors. But I do feel for the waiters who have to be exposed to many patrons, even though they're wearing masks. The people eating, obviously, are not wearing masks. Tell me, what's your opinion on outdoor dining? Are you cool with it, and are you doing it wherever you are? I want to know. All right, guys, make sure to update me on your situation. I just got an email today from some viewers in Melbourne, Australia. They're going into a second lockdown. Miami has just shut down indoor dining and bars. Let me know what the situation is like where you are. I am really curious, guys. We've got a lot of content coming up from New York City. It's going to be great. Make sure you're subscribed, have those notifications turned on. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you're the best. Until next time.